Throughout the 1970s, the absolute heart and soul of the New York Yankees was Thurman Munson. As captain, he led the Yankees to multiple titles while being the best catcher in the American League. But late into 1979, tragedy struck. So let's look at the career of Thurman Munson and its tragic end.
Totally sports-esque. Major League.
Thurman Munson was born in 1947 in Akron, Ohio, the youngest of 4 children. His father Darrell was a World War II vet who later worked as a long-distance trucker, and their relationship was complicated. Darrell often criticized his son, even after his best performances. Thurman Munson met his future wife Diana in elementary school in Canton, and at Lehman High School, Munson started in football, basketball, and baseball. He didn't start catching until his junior year, but only because he was the only player who could handle Jerry Pruitt's 90-mile-per-hour fastball, someone who was drafted in the 5th round by the Cardinals in 1965. During his senior year, Munson batted .581 and made the All-State team. More than 80 colleges offered him football scholarships, including Michigan and Ohio State. But he chose Kent State, mainly because it was close to home and he could play baseball. And at Kent State, he hit .413 as a junior, and he earned All-American honors. In that June, the Yankees selected him 4th overall in the 1968 draft, and they signed him with a $70,000 bonus, joining the Yankees when they were about to finally start a down period after more than 4 decades of dominance. And also around this time, he was drafted into the Army Reserve, but he was stationed in New Jersey. He played 6 spring training games with the Yankees in '69, and he was promoted to AAA Syracuse, inching closer to his Major League debut. And after hitting .363 with a .964 OPS in 28 games, on August 8th, the Yankees would call up Thurman Munson for a weekend series against the Oakland A's. Catcher Frank Fernandez was away on reserve duty, opening a spot for Munson, who was given jersey number 15, his old college number. And the second game of the doubleheader, Munson made it out there for the first time, and he recorded his first big league hit off future Hall of Famer Catfish Hunter, finishing the day 3 for 6 with a home run and 3 RBIs before heading back to military duty. He returned to baseball on August 30th, played 2 games in Syracuse before being recalled to the Bronx. Munson spent the rest of the season in the major leagues, throwing out 7 of 12 attempted base stealers over the final month. And that winter, Munson played in Puerto Rico for the San Juan Crabbers, where he was teammates with Roberto Clemente. Clemente told him, "If you ever hit under 280, that's a bad season," and Munson responded by hitting .333. In 1970, after a strong spring, Munson was named the Yankees starting catcher, and over the season, he would hit .302 with the .801 OPS, with 6 home runs and 53 RBIs, also leading in games caught and assists amongst catchers at 80. He helped the Yankees jump from 5th to 2nd in the AL East, and he would win the AL Rookie of the Year, receiving 23 of 24 possible votes, quickly becoming a team and fan favorite. Pitcher Fritz Peterson later said, "He was cocky in a good way, so talented that he could get away with it. He was a team guy who did everything the old Yankees did: run, hit, throw, and break up double plays." And the 1971 season saw him start out hot to give him his first All-Star selection, where he caught the final 2 innings of the game. Munson did not hit as well in '71, but what the year really showcased was his defensive ability. He committed just 1 error that season, and it happened on a brutal collision at home plate, which made him drop the ball and knocked him unconscious. He pinch hit the next day, and he was back behind the plate shortly after, going 3 for 4 with a home run. The toughness a part of his trademark, as he led all American League catchers in fielding and caught stealing percentage at 61, and he continued to be one of the best catchers in the American League over the coming years. From '72 to '75, he made 3 more All-Star teams, hitting 52 home runs and driving in .282 during those years, while hitting .291 with a .763 OPS and recording a B-WAR of 20.3. He also won 3 Gold Gloves from '73 to '75, recording the most assists in '73 and '74, while leading in range factor and stealing percentage again in '75, throwing out 50.4% of all runners. This earned him MVP votes in each of those 3 seasons, as he also developed his biggest rival during this time. The mid to late '70s were one of the best periods of the Yankee-Red Sox rivalry, and at the forefront for those teams were Thurman Munson and Carlton Fisk, really the leaders of their respective clubs, and along with Ray Fosse, they were considered the best American League catchers of this era. But of course, what fueled the rivalry most was just the teams they were playing for. The first real incident came in 1972, with a good old-fashioned hard slide into Munson by Fisk, and the more notable incident came a year later, at Fenway Park on the 1st of August, with the score tied at 2 in the top of the 9th and Munson on 3rd. Gene Michael attempted to bunt, but he would miss, and with Munson on his way home, Fisk elbowed Michael, then braced for Munson, who barreled right into Fisk. Fisk held on, and as the two got tangled, a 10-minute brawl would ensue, as both were ejected, while the Red Sox won in the bottom half. The two grew to resent and obsess over each other. Munson hated whenever Fisk received praise, while they watched each other's stats, and competed for the All-Star Game starting catcher. Then Munson got in '74 and '75. He didn't like watching the praise Fisk received when he hit his famous walk-off home run in Game 6 of the '75 World Series, but he liked watching the Red Sox lose the next night, which led into Munson's historic 1976. Before the season, Billy Martin would name him the team captain. Even with the many great players, Munson was the first Yankee captain since Lou Gehrig. Munson was hesitant at first, but Billy Martin said he was a born leader. He would be the starting catcher on the All-Star team for the third straight year, after hitting .319 with 8 home runs and an .809 OPS at the break, and he didn't slow down the second half, finishing the year with 17 home runs, driving in a career-high 105 with a .769 OPS, hitting over .300 for the fourth time, while recording a 5.3 WAR, and this led to him being named MVP, the 8th catcher to win MVP, and the only one until Ivan Rodriguez in 1999. It wasn't a very strong year in terms of MVP candidates, and ultimately wasn't his best year, and part of that is he wasn't as strong defensively, leading the league in pass balls, as Jim Sundberg began his run of Gold Glove catching. But the biggest reason he won MVP is the Yankees won the AL East by 10 games, breaking their longest playoff drought since they were called the Highlanders, and they were up against a team led by the MVP runner-up in George Brett, as their rivalry with the Royals would begin, and Munson was more than ready. He hit .435 with 3 RBIs in the 5-game series, and after Chris Chambliss hit the walk-off home run in Game 5, the Yankees were back in the World Series for the first time in 12 years, and they were up against the team that beat Fisk and the Red Sox the previous year in the Cincinnati Reds. And more than that, Munson was up against really the undisputed best catcher in this time, in Johnny Bench. And in terms of a head-to-head battle here, it was amongst the best ever seen. In the series, Munson hit .529 with 9 hits, all singles, which was a World Series record. The problem was, Johnny Bench hit .533, with half of his 8 hits being extra base hits, including 2 home runs in Game 4. And the even bigger problem was, the Big Red Machine won all 4 of those games to win their second straight World Series in dominant fashion. A lot of comparison was made between these two in the series, and when he was asked about it, Reds manager Sparky Anderson said, "Munson is an outstanding ball player, and he would hit .300 in the National League, but you don't ever compare anybody to Johnny Bench. Don't never embarrass nobody by comparing them to Johnny Bench." Sparky later apologized in a public letter, but Munson took it personal. Wanting the team to take that next big step, Munson told George Steinbrenner to sign the big man, and he did, when the Yankees signed Reggie Jackson. While Munson spoke highly of him, the two would have some problems, kind of stemming from the signing. In January 1977, Munson signed a 5-year deal with the Yankees that made him the highest-paid Yankee, and he said he had a verbal agreement with Steinbrenner that would always make him the highest-paid Yankee. But when he found out Reggie Jackson had signed a richer, incentive-laden deal, Munson considered this a direct breach of their agreement and caused a rift between the two right away. And it was a season full of rifts in the clubhouse. Tensions grew when Jackson, after a lackluster showing in ABC Superstars event, blamed teammates for not trying hard enough. They resolved that, but a little while after, Jackson claimed he was now the team's leader and he would not have let the Reds sweep them again. And after a rough start to the season that they would turn around, there was still some tension between Jackson and the team. That was made worse when he infamously said he was the straw who stirs the drink, and added, "Munson can only stir it bad." Jackson said he was misquoted and would apologize, especially after the comments sent many players off. There was ill feelings between the two for most of the season, and the tensions between Billy Martin and Jackson that spilled out on national television did not help much. But the two came to respect each other, as Munson was an all-star once again hitting over .300 and driving in 100, while adding 18 home runs with an .813 OPS, becoming the first catcher since Bill Dickey in 1939 to hit .300 and drive in 100 runners in 3 straight seasons. And throughout all the clubhouse tensions, the Yankees won the AL East again. And again, they were facing the Royals in the ALCS. Munson hit his first postseason home run in Game 1, and he would hit .286 in the series, as the Yankees beat the Royals in 5 once again, setting up for a World Series matchup against the Los Angeles Dodgers. Munson hit .320 in the series with a home run, but the real star of the series was the man Munson wanted in Reggie Jackson, who hit 5 home runs in the series, including 3 in the clinching Game 6, to give the Yankees the World Series. Jackson, of course, being named the MVP, and it was here when Munson gave Jackson his famous Mr. October nickname. But Munson's real value came from containing the speedy Dodgers. They stole 114 bases during the season, and Munson threw out 4 of their 6 potential base stealers to keep them at bay over the last 2 games. Munson then became the second catcher in MLB history to win Rookie of the Year, an MVP, a Gold Glove, and a World Series. The other being Johnny Bench, Buster Posey the only one to do so after, and you can add that Posey and Munson were both All-Americans in college. And throughout the entire year that was laden with injuries that Munson fought through, he consistently asked for a trade to Cleveland, simply to be closer to his family. But Steinbrenner did not grant his wishes, and the catcher would stay in New York. It was also during that offseason when Munson would learn to fly. He earned his pilot's license, and he bought a plane for his new passion. And though tensions between Munson and Jackson cooled slightly, the release of Munson's biography in June, where he criticized Reggie's ego, rekindled the feud. There was tension in the clubhouse once again as the Yankees fell well behind, leading to Billy Martin being fired in July, being replaced by Bob Lemon, and the team would catch fire. After trailing Boston by 14 games, they would storm back to tie for first. And that famous tiebreaker game at Fenway, Bucky Dent's shocking home run gave the Yankees the lead. Munson followed with an RBI double to help secure the win, and the AL East once again. In a year Munson declined some, hitting just below 300 with 6 home runs, catching 125 games, DHing 14, and actually playing in the outfield for 13. And again, the ALCS, the Yankees were facing the Royals. After splitting the first 2 games, in Game 3 with the Yankees down 5-4 in the 8th, Munson had his iconic playoff moment, with a 2-run go-ahead home run that was measured at 475 feet, the longest of his career, as the Yankees won 6-5. They then won the next night for their 3rd straight pennant, beating the Royals all 3 times. And facing familiar foes, they were in for a rematch against the Los Angeles Dodgers. The Dodgers won the first 2 games of the series, but things changed when they went to the Bronx, as Munson would record 6 hits over the 3 games the Yankees won, including a game-tying double in the 8th of Game 4 that the Yankees won in 10, recording 3 in Game 5 with 5 RBIs. The Yankees would then easily take Game 6 in LA 7-2, with Munson catching the final out on a foul pop-up to give the Yankees back-to-back titles. Munson hit .320 with 7 RBIs in the series, and just like Johnny Bench, he won back-to-back titles. Despite all of this, he was still homesick, and that winter, he again asked for a trade. But the Yankees would refuse, and the 1979 season was a difficult one for the Yankees. Injuries to key players took their toll, and the team struggled to maintain success as Billy Martin was rehired in June. Thurman Munson, who was playing to intense pain, was still grinding through games, but his body was wearing down, and he was not an all-star selection. Munson even considered retirement after the year, and in August, as the Yankees sat 14 games back, Munson would make a huge purchase, a $1.25 million twin-engine jet. He bought the plane to spend more time with his family, flying from New York to Canton, Ohio on his off days. In his 1984 autobiography, Reggie Jackson recalled a chilling moment just weeks before. Munson invited Jackson, as they were now on better terms, to fly with him in a co-pilot from Seattle to Anaheim. During the flight, Munson's jet experienced instrument issues. Reggie remembered Thurman saying, "Nothing ever works right in this damn plane." By late July, Munson's knee pain had worsened, and team doctors believed he might not catch again that season. And on the eve of an off day, Munson asked Jackson, Lou Piniella, and Bobby Mercer to fly to Canton with him in his new jet, and all 3 declined, busy with personal matters and uneasy about the trip. Some Yankee executives echoing the feeling that he wasn't as good of a pilot as he believed he was. On August 2, 1979, Munson drove to the Akron-Canton airport, having just 34 hours of experience flying the plane, and joining him were 2 friends, Jerry Anderson and David Hall, who was his former flight instructor. Munson planned to practice touch-and-go landings, and after 2 successful runs, Munson was directed to a different runway, elevated 50 feet above the terrain. During approach, Hall believed they descended too low while lowering the landing gear. The plane clipped the tops of 3 trees and slammed into a stump, spinning violently before coming to rest 600 feet short of the runway. Hall and Anderson escaped, and they later recounted how Munson, conscious but pinned in the cockpit, asked if they were okay and begged for help. But the fire spread too quickly. His seatbelt couldn't be unfastened, and his friends were forced to abandon the rescue as the flames overtook the wreckage. Thurman Munson would then pass away at just 32 years old. The Yankees were devastated. Team owner George Steinbrenner immediately chartered a plane to take the entire team and front office staff to Canton for the funeral. The service was held at the Canton Civic Center. A framed photo of Munson in his Yankees uniform sat near the closed casket, and his children Tracy, Kelly, and 4-year-old Michael all wore Yankee gear, with Michael wearing his jersey. Lou Piniella and Bobby Mercer, 2 of his closest friends, read scripture. Mercer tried to deliver a eulogy, but was so overwhelmed with grief, he had to cut it short. His widow Diana selected 4 condolence telegrams to be read at the service, and they came from Lou and Anita Piniella, Muhammad Ali, Eleanor Gehrig, and Reggie Jackson. Carlton Fisk also paid tribute, saying, "There was no such thing as hatred between us. I really had the utmost respect for him as a person. We both thought we were the best catcher in the league, and we tried to prove it. And now, I really miss him." The Yankees retired his number 15 that year, and fans gave an 8-minute standing ovation the Yankees' first game after, with numerous tributes from his plaque in Monument Park to street names named after him coming soon after. Just an absolute shock and tragedy for everyone involved. Munson finished his 10.5-year career playing 1,423 games, hitting 113 home runs, driving in .701 with a .292 average, a .756 OPS, and a B-WAR of 46. He won Rookie of the Year, made 7 All-Star teams, won 2 Gold Gloves, 2 World Series, and the 1976 MVP. Munson is one of the first names brought up in catchers who deserve to be in the Hall of Fame after appearing on 19 ballots, including the Veterans Committee, but never got more than 15% of the vote. The biggest reason he hasn't got the support is his lack of longevity, for tragic reasons, and a few more average seasons would have made him a lock. But he's one that if you look closer, you realize he deserves more benefit of the doubt. He recorded a 116 career OPS+, 43.2 offensive WAR, higher than Roy Campanella, including his Negro League stats, who played 9 seasons before an unfortunate car accident wrecked his career. The only catchers with 25+ who are in the Hall of Fame are him and Gene Tennis, someone who came to the league the same time as him and is deserving of more consideration. And what also separates Munson is his postseason play. Munson's .357 playoff average is the third best amongst the over 260 players with at least 130 postseason plate appearances, winning 2 World Series, with his 9 singles and his only loss in '76 being a record at the time, and that was in just 4 games. What could help Munson the most is Buster Posey being inducted, who appears to be a possible first-ballot Hall of Famer, someone with numbers close to each other, with Munson playing more games, and both leading their teams to multiple titles. Both of those players having feats amongst catchers, only matched by Johnny Bench. Regardless of if he gets in one day, he was absolutely the heart and soul of the Yankees throughout the 1970s. His toughness, leadership, and overall ability made him beloved by both his teammates and the Yankee fans. The loss obviously cut deep for the Yankees. In terms of the organization, they would finish 4th that season, and the 80s would be the first decade since the 1910s where they did not win the World Series. No telling how things would be different, but if Munson were to keep playing, there's no team that wouldn't want his leadership and the postseason ability he demonstrated in what was bound to be a no-doubt Hall of Fame career. Munson having an incredible career, with one of the most tragic endings in the history of the sport. The heart and soul of a team throughout an entire decade, a replica of his locker lies in Cooperstown, where hopefully one day he is inducted for a deserved tribute to the Yankees' former captain. Hopefully you liked this video, and if so, please consider liking and subscribing for new videos every week. Thank you.